Welcome, everybody. This is a big day for me. It is my first PSA order coming back for sports cards. Some of you may have seen my Star Wars vintage reveal that I did. That was a lot of fun. But this is the very first PSA order for sports cards that I have sent in. So I'm going to go through the cards in the same order that I sent them in the first video that you guys would have seen, where I was kind of prepping all the cards and grading the cards, pre-grading the cards myself before sending them to PSA. So we'll see how I did on grades. But before I get into that, I'm just going to do a quick update so people kind of have a feel for how long this took. I'm going to be talking in business days here. So I'm cutting out any weekends and holidays, so this is just business days. How many business days did PSA have the cards for each stage? So I mailed the cards on February 13th. They received them 2 days later. It took them 7 days to check them in after they received them. It took them an additional 2 days to complete the research and ID. Took 41 days for grading, 1 day for assembly, 1 day for QA check 1 day for QA check 2, and 1 day to ship it out. I received it 2 business days later on the 5th today. It took 58 business days total for me to receive this order back. So I sent it out again on February 13th. PSA received them on February 15th, and we are now on May 5th when I received them back for a total of 58 business days. So not too shabby compared to what I've seen some other videos from previous years where people had to wait months and months and months and even over a year at times. So just a quick update for all of you who might have been interested in how long the process was taking. I did have another order that went to PSA actually 4 days after this one, and it was actually ahead of this one in processing. It finished grading 1 day sooner than this order, but that one is actually still stuck in the assembly phase, so hopefully that one moves on here soon. But without any further time wasted, let's get into the reveal. So first off, 2 of the cards I was most excited for, unfortunately, did not get graded. We got min-sized on this 67 Carl Yastrzemski. That is in absolutely gorgeous shape. No doubt in my mind that would have been a 7, possibly an 8. I think I disagree with that. I might send that one back in and see what they say. And then we have unfortunately, the big card of this order, the 1966 Mickey Mantle, got hit with a miscut. So I'm not sure what the miscut is from. I disagree with the miscut. I'll have to take a look at that. I'll probably send that one back in as well, because I don't think it was miscut. But let's get into the cards that did get graded. First, we're going to start with a 71 Nolan Ryan. When this one went through my pre-grading, I knew it had some centering issues. I was grading it as a 6 or a 7, meaning I thought it was going to be potentially an 8 or a 9 condition-wise. And it came back as a 5. So obviously you can see the centering is really bad, so they dinged me really hard on that. I still believe that this is at least an 8 condition-wise, other than the centering. So I think it should have been a 6 based on the condition, but I'm not the one grading it. So we got a 5 on the 71 Nolan Ryan. Next, we got a Roberto Clemente. I guess this one was going to be a 5 or a 6. This one has much better centering, but the card itself isn't as clean. So again, I guessed 5 or a 6, and this one came back a 6. So I'm happy with that. Obviously, came back on the high side of my guess, so we're happy with that. Next, we've got a 73 Topps Bob Gibson. I guessed this one was going to be a 6 or a 7. and this one came back as a 7. So again, on the high side of my pre-grade. Happy with that. Looking at this card and comparing it to some of the other cards that came back, honestly, I think this one maybe could have qualified as an 8 as I look at it again, but I'll take a 7 for sure. Next, we have a 1967 Bob Gibson. I pre-graded the 67 Gibson a 5 or a 6, and it came back as a 6. So I compared the size of the I can't talk apparently. I compared the size of the Yastrzemski to this card, and they look the same to me. So I'm not sure why the Yastrzemski got min size. So I am almost 100% going to be sending that one back, but happy with a 6 on that one. Next, we have a 1960 Bob Gibson. I pre-graded this one as a 4, hoping for a 5. I knew it had to be better than a 3. I think a 4 was more realistic, but I was hoping for a 5, and it did come back as a 4. So I'm guessing centering was the reason it didn't get 5. It is in nice shape, so I'll take a 4 for sure. Centering obviously was the issue on that one. Next, we have a 65 Bob Gibson. I pre-graded this one as a 6, hoping for a 7. As you can see, the back is very clean, and the centering on the front is not great. But this is a super sharp card, so the centering is what hammered this card for sure. The condition of this card is easily an 8 or a 9, so the fact that they graded it a 6 tells me they thought it was an 8 based on centering. Next, we have a 74 Yastrzemski. I pre-graded this one a 7 or an 8. This one was in really, really good condition, and I was surprised when I saw the grade came back as a 6. I guess the centering is bad enough that it is probably what happened there, but I still think this is a very clean, one of the cleanest, sharpest cards that I sent in this order, so pretty bummed out that it only got a 6 there, but not a high dollar card, so it's not going to crush me. Next, we have a Sandy Koufax 1964. Koufax strikes out 16. I pre-graded it a 6 or a 7 condition-wise, but I kind of forgot that it was miscut when I was recording that video. I didn't forget. I just forgot to account for the fact that it was miscut. And it came back as a 5. It's still a really clean, sharp card. Again, they graded a 5. With how miscut it is, they're agreeing that it's sharp as a 7. But I'll take a 5 there. Next, we have a 68 Willie Stargell. I pre-graded this a 6 or a 7. It's a nice card, for sure. I was hoping for the higher end, obviously, but it came back as a 6. This one has pretty nice centering, so that's why I thought it would hit 7, but I guess there's enough wrong with it that it was going to be capped out at 6. Still a nice card, though. Next, the only football card in this order, we have a Jim Kelly rookie card. I pre-graded it an 8 or a 9. I was leaning as 9 being the most realistic. And honestly, in my head, I was hoping for a 10, but I pre-graded 8 or 9. And it came back as a 9. So obviously the centering isn't perfect. That's why it's not a 10. But it did come back a 9, so I'm happy with that. Next, we have a Dave Parker rookie card, 1974 Topps. I pre-graded this one a 7 or an 8. Again, this was a really sharp card. I was actually thinking it was probably more likely going to be an 8, but conservatively I guessed 7 or 8, and it came back a 7. I'm guessing, again, the centering is what did it in here, because this is a really sharp, clean card, but I will happily take a 7. Next, we have a Fergie Jenkins, 1969 Topps. I pre-graded this one as an 8, hoping for a 9, and it came back as an 8. So very clean, sharp card, really solid centering all around. Obviously, again, I thought it could have gotten a 9 even with the centering being slightly off. But it looks like there's one tiny little corner ding up here that maybe I missed. But it still got an 8 for me. Next, we have a 1975 Robin Yount. I pre-graded it as a 6 or a 7. And this one, I'm going to have to look closer at because it came back as a 4. And I couldn't tell you why. It's nicely centered. I don't see any major flaws in it. There must be a micro wrinkle or crease or something somewhere that I didn't see. But, I mean, I was inspecting all of these with my 10 power magnifier under really bright lights before I sent any of these out. So I'm not sure what I missed on this one, but it got only a 4. So who knows what happened there. Next, we've got a 1958 Curt Flood. This one was really, really well centered. Not the greatest condition overall card, but I figured with how well it was centered, it was going to get a 4 or a 5. And it did come back as a 4. Again, corners are a little bit soft all the way around. There's a little bit of surface damage to it, kind of up on his hat. But it is very beautifully centered, and PSA gave it a 4. Next, we have a 58 Topps Stan Musial All-Star card. I shouldn't have sent this one in. I knew when I sent it in, it had a little wrinkle on the back, and I was hoping that the card was in good enough shape that they'd still give it a 5, but it got a 2. The eye appeal for a 2 is absolutely insane, though. The wrinkle is only on the back. It goes right here. You probably can't even see it. Oh, yeah, you can see it. There's a wrinkle on the back. It does not go through to the front. This has got to be the sharpest, cleanest eye appeal 2 you'll ever get. Again, it's so clean. I was hoping for a 5, but not to be. So I'll probably end up keeping that just because I'm not going to get much out of it, and it's a Musial card. So next, we have a Mantle Maze Killebrew 1968 Topps Superstars. I pre-graded this one a 3 with a hope of a 4, and it came back a 3. Not surprised it didn't get a 4, but I figured it's in such good shape picture-wise, even though the corners are rough, that a 3 was where it would land, and that's where it hit. So I'll take that. Still a nice card, even at a 3. Next, we have Ale Bombers. I pre-graded this a 3 or a 4. I actually thought the Bombers card was better than that 68 Superstars card that we just looked at. And it came back a 2. So I'm not sure. Like I said, personally, I think this card looks overall nicer condition than that 68. But PSA didn't agree, and they gave that a 2. And finally, we've got a 59 Topps Hank Aaron. This is another one that surprised me a little bit. I thought it was going to be a 4 or a 5, and it came back a 3. In my opinion, this is at least as good a condition as the Bob Gibson that got a 4, and it's probably a better condition than the Gibson that got a 4. So I'm not sure why I got a 3, but it's not going to be worth sending back in. So we're just going to keep that one. Haven't decided if that's going to be a PC card or not, but we shall see. So anyways, that wraps up this order, the cards that have come back from PSA. Obviously, I'm loving these. Where did the other card go? I'm looking for a card. Oh, that's right. I forgot. It got a 5. these are my 3 favorite cards, probably right here, that came back in this order. Love these cards. I wish they would have graded better, obviously, but let me know which is your favorite card from this order. I always love seeing comments, so please don't hesitate to write something. I try to respond to as many as I can. I do have, like I said, I've got another PSA order coming back hopefully soon, so stay tuned for that video. And until next time, God bless.